Hello, I'm horror cartoonist Dennis St. John. I draw monsters and write twisted tales. As you can imagine, I was a little obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Lucky for me, so were most of my high school friends, all except one. One friend who stubbornly refused to join the Scoobies. So here we are, 20-some-odd years later. I'm teaming up with Doc Travis, John Teach Landis, and maybe a special guest or two. And we're going to make our friend, Michael Poley, watch one episode of Buffy a week until he's no longer the Buffy Virgin. Hey everyone, welcome back to Angel Virgin. I'm your host, Dennis St. John, and with me as always is the gang. Why don't you introduce yourselves? I forgot to come up with the thing.
By who gives the most fucks?
By most fucks to least fucks.
About Angel?
Yeah, about Angel.
Hi, my name is Travis. I'm the one who's more insane about Angel than anyone else. And it shows, I feel. My incredible pale skin reflects my love for this vampire series.
I'm going to go ahead and say I give the second most fucks about Angel. My name is John. I'm really happy to be here because I give a medium amount of fucks about Angel.
And my name is Michael. I am an Angel virgin. I've only seen all the way through season 1 of Angel, and I actually might give more fucks than John about Angel. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But I've been fully indoctrinated watching this program with Travis every episode. I did not watch a single episode by myself.
That's actually a pretty magical experience. This episode we're going to watch the back half of season 1, episodes 12 through 22. So get ready and strap in. We don't have any reactions, so why don't we jump right to the summary? Why don't we do a quick summary of all those episodes?
The summary.
I just wrote a sentence or two about each episode to keep them fresh in our minds before we start talking about them in greater depth. So episode 12 is Expecting. That's an episode where Cordelia gets pregnant with a Haxel beast, has a fantastic monster confrontation at the end I'm sure we'll talk about. Episode 13 is She. That's the episode where a princess from another dimension brings her people and her problems with her to Los Angeles, and Angel rescues these enslaved women from another dimension. Number 14 is I've Got You Under My Skin. That is the episode with the child exorcism in it. I'm going to just withhold my opinions about that. And episode 15 is the Prodigal. That's the one where Kate's father gets murdered in front of her and has a weird demon drug running story. Episode 16 is The Ring. Angel's kidnapped, forced to fight in a no-holds-barred underground demon fighting contest. Episode 17, Eternity. A once famous young actress, now a has-been, wants to live forever by becoming a vampire. Episode 18, 5x5. Faith gets an appearance on the show. She's hired to assassinate Angel by a certain lawyer, legal agency, and ends up torturing Wesley and getting knocked out. Episode 19, Sanctuary. Watcher Council offers to reinstate Wesley if he kidnaps Faith, but the wheels of justice are already in motion. Episode 20, Warzone. We meet Charles Gunn, vampire hunter, and his amazing crew. Episode 21, Blind Date. Lindsay from Wolfman Heart has a crisis of faith until he gets to his office, and the weird prophecy scroll gets introduced. And then episode 22, the last episode in season 1, Tu Shanchu in LA. A super demon puts Cordelia and Wesley in the hospital, forcing Angel to act. Lindsay gets Skywalkered, and Darla returns to the show. And I want to thank Travis for the creation of the term Skywalkered. I'm sure it's a well-established term, but as soon as that happened, we were watching together, he goes, dude, Lindsay got Skywalkered. And it's one of the more memorable moments watching Angel.
All right. Thank you, Mike. So let's jump right into Great Lines.
Great Lines.
So this is a fun line from the episode where, oh gosh, I can't even remember which episode this is from, Travis. The Warzone. Yeah, thanks. They introduce a character who's like been on Mad TV. It's kind of a weird dude. He's been apparently sleeping with demon women at a brothel, but he's excited to hang with Angel and Cordelia. And he says, "You ever played Dungeons and Dragons?" And Angel says, "I've seen a few." So good.
Yeah, so my favorite, I got one where Sean Gunn's character. This is in the episode he runs this like weird resort in Palm Springs that's holding all the girls on ice, and Angel shows up and he's trying to like pretend like he's got a cover, and he's like, let's talk about the clothes vibe, which is like the best phrase to say to Angel because Angel wears all black and like it's such a statement. And then like when he doesn't know that he's friends with Jira. And then like when the bad guys show up, he tries to stop them saying, we have hands that heal, brothers. And then they just knock him out. It's just like the weirdest lines. And I love this character actor because he was on Gilmore Girls at the exact same time, which was also on the same network. So that kind of blew my mind. And then the next favorite line was Angel when he's like telling to Lindsay, don't believe everything you were foretold. And then he cuts his hand off. So insane.
Yeah, that was definitely my best line. Yeah, I was really irritated that you stole it from me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My second favorite line, though, is Cordelia talking to Angel and saying, we weren't going to let anything happen to you. I mean, beyond the slavery and the severe beatings and stuff.
You could also, that same episode has some of the best lines from Wesley where he's like, there's a raid going down tonight with the man. That's a great Wesley line. Like he's like leaning in, doing his thing.
All right. Why don't we move on to best and worst episodes?
All right. Well, I created a new category, which is best and worst. The so bad it's so amazing. And I think that's The Ring. I feel like that episode has so much going for it. It has an underground fighting ring, and then just these bizarre rules around how the fighters are treated and how their world works. They can't step beyond a line, or they're disintegrated because of the way that they're marked. It's a strange episode because it felt like I was being let into another world, which you are constantly being led into new worlds in Angel, but just that there is an underground fighting ring. It's full of just the most random like assortment of characters, and that Angel is going to fight, and they really play that through all the way, and that's like the conclusion to it. And like anyway, it's kind of lovely. There's so many crazy lines and crazy moments in the episode. So that's best and worst. And then the worst episode for me was Blind Date. And Blind Date is just the weirdest as fuck episode of Angel. And I think in part because Lindsay's motivation. So Lindsay is this lawyer at Wolfram and Hart. And it's like, that's the episode where he defects to Angel because he has a crisis of conscience about him. And then he gives Angel and then, subsequently, Gunn, all the tools they need to break into Wolfram and Hart in order to steal a scroll and some other shit. But they weren't even trying to steal the scroll. Angel's just drawn to it. It just has it's the most full of plot holes episodes, and it also raises the stakes so randomly. I mean, Wolfram and Hart straight up assassinates other Wolfram and Hart employees who have talked about getting other jobs, which is like, again, why you should never tell your employer you're considering other opportunities or even hint at it. But it's just like, it goes into Wolfram and Hart, which is such a fucked up organization, in a way I wish they would do with the Watcher Council. I mean, I said that this is the worst, but it's really one of the best because it's so weird and terrible. But The Ring is, I feel like this one's more convoluted than The Ring, so it's got to be the worst. And then the best episode here, To Shanshu in LA, which is the subsequent episode, it's got the most fun Angel stuff in it. I mean, it takes out Wesley and Cordelia, and it just raises the stakes in such a crazy way, and then has this amazing reveal of Darla at the end. It's just like a weird tour de force Angel episode. But there was so much pressure on it to do something different from other episodes, and I just really enjoyed it, and I felt like it was the most emotionally engaging episode because I made me really care about Cordelia and worry about her, and even Wesley to some extent, because they really push on Cordelia's powers to see to see things from Doyle that she has, and like she's really exposed, and it's like this really interesting vision of what it would like to be mad or to go insane, and you're so empathetic to Cordelia that you are very worried for her the entire episode until it gets resolved. At the same time, Cordelia's a very sweet character, and then so that's the best. Cool. I can go on for a while. Stop here.
How about in the middle of all that like heartbreak and stuff Angel's going through, Kate is also like, we're friend breaking up.
Oh, totally.
Oh, I guess so. My turn next. So my best and worst is The Prodigal. I think it's great because of what happens between Angel and Kate's relationship, and the fact that Kate's father is murdered, and that changes things forever. It's super weird because of this obsession with the adrenal gland and the whole drug running and like alchemy type thing. That's a bit weird. That's what makes it a little bit weird, but it's got like funny moments. And it's got a great moment where Cordelia is like, it's like chopping the head off the Quaini, and like, Wesley's like, she's a proper girl, she's, talking about how she's like sort of a refined girl, and then she's like chopping up this demon into body parts because like, that's her now, because she's pretty awesome. The worst is I've Got You Under My Skin. Ugh, I never rewatched that, so I always skip that. So it was weird to watch it with Mike, and Mike actually enjoyed it because I'm like, he's gonna hate this episode because I hate this episode. No, it
Turns out we're different people.
Turns out we are actually different people. I mean, you'd think I would have gotten it by now, but no. So I was like, well, good for you. I'm glad somebody enjoys this because I just don't. And frankly, I enjoy it so little I don't even want to talk about it. But the best episode from season 1 is Eternity, because it's weird, it's silly, it's dark. It's like sad because the actress in Eternity, she has continued to act, and I give her mad props for that. But she's never gotten that big breakout role. So it's kind of really, really sad. I mean, she has continued to work, and I think that's great. Good for her. I love her as an actress. I think she really should be much more widely known. So there's kind of like a weird like reality where she's not getting the roles that this lady in the TV show was not getting either. So that always has bummed me out. But I love how when that reality crosses, I mean, some people be worried when reality crosses into the TV shows, but I'm okay. I'm all for it. And I love like the mirror reveal. I love when Angel makes her drink all this blood, and it's like so disturbing. And I'm like, man, Angel really can be a bad guy. Don't forget season 2 of Buffy, folks. So that's why I love Eternity, because it's like a buffet of weird Angel Buffy goodness.
All right, dope. I chose for best. I did 5x5 in Sanctuary, the Faith 2-parter. I just think that shit's amazing. It's like I think it might be the strongest Faith episodes we've ever gotten. I love seeing at the beginning like Faith at full psycho mode, and like her dancing at the club while starting a big fight that doesn't affect her dancing, and then like her going into like assassin mode, and then like they go through the whole like she tortures Wesley for a shockingly large amount of screen time, and then like she has to do her whole redemption arc, and we get to see like the Watchers Council like be full psychos and fight. Everybody fights a helicopter, which is amazing. Find out the Watchers Council has alchemists on it. I think that it's like a great 2-parter. And Warzone I think is cool episode. Introduces Charles Gunn. We see what the like streets of LA are really like in this world with vampires.
I'm surprised you didn't pick any of the monsters from the from the brothel, like the demon brothel. I thought they looked cool.
They're cool. Oh, for best worst monsters.
Oh yeah, you're jumping ahead, Travis.
I'm sorry. No, I know, but I would just okay.
I'm more into like full monsters, not the like half monster thing.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead.
I chose Blind Date as the worst. Not because of the like Wolfram and Hart stuff, but because Angel fighting Daredevil is dumb.
It was just Daredevil. It was just Daredevil. I kept thinking that the whole time.
No, she's a bad Daredevil.
She's a bad Daredevil, yeah.
Bad Daredevil.
And the whole like, I don't know, the whole like gimmick of like, I have to just like stop moving so she can't find me thing.
Because she's a T-Rex.
I mean, like,
see, she's different. It's different.
No, that would be a similar problem with like Angel could figure out with fighting Daredevil is like he can't read my heart because my heart don't beat. Similarly with like the monsters in the ring, I thought like were like really weak monster sauce, and like similar with She, I just like that episode was interesting, but Bai Ling like isn't a great actress, and like those demons are like, what are you doing? I also put Eternity down there, but after Travis's passion for Eternity, that might have changed my mind.
Swayed.
My best episode was She, which was definitely Dennis's worst. Um,
So good.
I hear all the complaints Dennis has with She, but I really appreciate how ambitious the episode She is. Like, and I want to talk about this more in my rant, but like they set out clearly, like, let's make an episode that touches on issues of human trafficking and female genital mutilation. And we're going to do it in like 40 minutes of TV on a vampire show. There's something I really appreciate about the ambition of that, even if maybe it kind of falls on its face, which I want to talk about more.
I also want to, like, in She, like one of the big issues that causes a lot of problems within this Buffyverse is like dimension travel. Like, opening up a portal to another dimension destroys the universe half the time. But in She, like, that's not even a plot point. Like, it's the easiest in the world.
Yeah, agree.
Well, I mean, hell is just another dimension at that point, right? It's what's so special about a hellmouth if people can come from other dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. My worst episode was the episode Eternity. Sorry, Travis, that was your best episode. So again, being controversial. For me, the problem with Eternity is that the episode, on the one hand, like raises all these issues where it's difficult for an aging actress, and in the context of this, the aging is like late 20s, to continue working, and it kind of brings up that issue, that sort of systemic issue in Hollywood. But then also the episode judges her super hard for being shallow, which I feel like is kind of a contradiction and is not handled real delicately or interestingly. I think there's a little bit of a degree to which when Angel's like squirting blood down her throat that we're kind of on evil Angel's side, which I think is creepy. So that's kind of why Eternity is my worst episode.
It takes you to
It's
a
just a
weird
parody
place.
of that
It takes
famous
you
scene
somewhere.
from Sunset Boulevard where Ryder is squirting blood down her throat.
Yes, that old chestnut.
All right, let's move to best worst monsters.
Well, I don't think my monster evaluation will be as thorough or as interesting as Dennis's, but my best monster I thought was Charles Gunn's sister in Warzone. It was just a simple monster, but his sister, she gets turned into a vampire. There's a confrontation. It's really brief, and he ends up killing her. But it's kind of a dark climax in a pretty dark episode. I feel like Warzone is comic. It's very funny, but also very serious. It's got the intensity of like a 80s horror action film, like a pre-Blade, maybe post-Blade kind of action film.
Yes,
I mean, every setup feels like an action figure play set in that thing, but yet the acting is so good that the drama really works. They just have picked some really great actors. I think Charles Gunn's exceptional, and I thought his sister is great too. So like for throwaway characters, what feels like throwaway characters, they're so it feels so real. And so I really got connected to that story. And so Charles Gunn's sister just felt like had a lot to her for that turn, and it made me really sad when he had to kill her. And then because it's just a bit character in a show, they just move on really quickly from that. But gives Charles Gunn this real serious backstory, and then for them to just blow it on Blind Date, to have him just go in and act crazy, it was like a weird, sad moment. And then the worst monster is the Watcher Council. Geez, these guys could not be worse at what they do. It feels like they have unlimited resources at their disposal, but they are just
apparently it's actually unlimited because they have alchemists.
But they are straight up like barely. They're like not even a protest organization. Like they barely like have. They're just a bunch of thugs. Maybe. I mean, the fact that they're trying to recruit Wesley is stupid. I mean, you've seen this guy. Why would you ever?
Hey,
Look, we've seen.
he's a rogue demon hunter. Okay, that counts for something in this.
What's a rogue demon?
I don't know. The Watcher Council's the worst. They're here for a blip. They're pathetic. I don't know why I keep rooting for them to be big bads on Buffy. I just feel like they could do more writing to make these characters interesting, and then they don't. And so they're just the worst monster. And I chose, I guess, all human monsters as best and worst here, or humanoid monsters.
That's fine.
And all right, so my best one, I leave the actual monsters to Dennis and John. But so I love pregnant Cordelia when she's acting all crazy. And pregnant women are not monsters. I'm getting that out of the way. But when she's like possessed by the spirit of the Haxel demon, like acting super crazy, like with crazy eyes and drinking the blood, I'm like, you got it, Kristen Carpenter. That's really good. Like, because we haven't gotten to see like super crazy Cordelia, but she did it awesome, and so that was really awesome. And then the worst, Watchers Council. But then I was gonna ask John, do you think the Watchers Council's accents are authentic compared to Wesley's?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell.
I can't. Yeah, they seem like so over exaggerated, but maybe they're legit accents.
I have no idea. But I do want to say about Pregnant Cordelia. I was watching that. I kept thinking about like that weird trope of pregnancy horror. And Dennis, this might be a question for you, like because there's so many movies that fall into that sort of like sub genre of pregnancy body horror. Like, you know, I'm thinking of Rosemary's Baby and Alien and a number of other things. But like so many of them are written and directed by men. Just what up with that?
Because it's the men who are freaked out by it.
Maybe. But also, I don't know.
I don't know why.
I feel like a lot of women who are freaked out by the prospect of pregnancy as well. I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing in the world.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, I will try to think of.
I'm sure Dennis will come up with one movie directed by a woman about pregnancy horror. I'm sure.
Well, don't
I
put
think
me
there's
on
a few.
I'm sure there is. Well, you don't have to do it today.
I mean, I just watched Bird Box, which has a lot of not maybe pregnancy horror, but definitely pregnancy is an imminent threat in that film. And that's directed by a woman, although written by a man.
You know what really bothers me about that movie?
What's that?
Bird Box.
Bird Box. You don't see the monster.
Yeah.
And they're in Sacramento, and the sister is like, let's drive to Santa Rosa. That'll be safer. Like, that's like a 2-hour drive across 2 valleys in the middle of an apocalypse. That's insane. Santa Rosa is not safe during an apocalypse.
Yeah, I feel like that movie's way overrated. But,
Are you recommending it? Should we watch it? I haven't seen this one. I know about it.
Watch it so that you can have, because somebody's going to try to talk to you about it, because apparently everybody loved it.
I didn't.
I didn't love it. I was fine.
I hate a monster movie where you never see a monster. It gets me so pissed off.
One unintended great side effect of this Bird Box movie is that on YouTube, videos with birds and boxes is like really shooting to the top of my recommended feed. I haven't seen Bird Box either, but like people are searching for Bird Box on YouTube, and they're getting videos of birds and boxes, and like those videos are taking off, brother. I just saw one where it was like 2 like groups of birds were chirping at each other, and it had like over 5 million views. It was cute as hell, and there were different like brightly colored birds. Like, there's a reason this is being watched now.
So my favorite monster out of this half season of Angel was the sort of maggot-faced demon with the mask in Tushanshu in LA. Because if you compare it to What's My Line back in Buffy, I think what the Buffy Angel crew have learned is that it's not how many maggots you use that makes the monster scary. It's how you use them. I feel like that's a lesson learned. And my worst monster is the same monster before they take the mask off, because with that stupid mask and the stupid like scythe that looked like it just looks like bad tattoo art. I'm not into it.
He looks like he's trying to head towards the orgy, right?
Yeah. Fidelio.
So I think like this is interesting because like I think Mike went for like emotionally affecting monsters, where I was strictly looking at like monster makeup. It didn't occur to me to answer any other way. But they only get like a second of screen time, but the demons from 5x5 have this like crazy droop face that's all like slanted to one side, and it looks like nothing that's been in Buffy before. I put images of it down at the bottom of the doc. They're just a really cool pattern. And then in the next episode in Sanctuary, there's this bug demon assassin that is also really dope and has like cool coloring and like extra eyes and like eats yogurt in a gross way. I don't know what they're eating. But just really cool looking monster. And in expecting that demon being so giant, and he's in that like general Buffy demon mode, but his face is totally an effect instead of like the man makeup on top. And I think the combination of his sheer size and the way he dies and the face really like pump it up. I love that he dies like he gets like a combination of Jaws and Terminator 2. So that's really dope for me. So yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, I added this section, best worst celebrity cameo, because I just feel like there's a surprising amount of like small like celebrity cameos in this half season. So Travis picked up two of the ones I was hoping people would pick up.
Sean Gunn.
This is his second appearance this season. He's also Doyle's demon cousin in that Horde episode or whatever that's called.
And Ken Marino in Expecting. And that was a guy whose career I followed forever, and it finally took off. So if you want to see Ken Marino at the beginning of his career, watch Expecting.
That was so funny because I rewatched that episode Expecting with Elizabeth, with my wife or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, is Ken Marino going to be in this one?" She said that like from minute one. So I was like, "Oh shoot, you're right," and it's fun, even though he's kind of a weird photographer character or whatever.
Yeah,
he doesn't get to be full Ken Marino.
Yeah, he doesn't pull out the full comedy chops for some reason. I picked Christina Hendricks from Mad Men. She's the barmaid in Prodigal.
Is this her first appearance in a Joss Whedon property?
I think it is, yeah. You might see her again in a different Joss Whedon property.
I don't know if it really counts as a celebrity cameo, but I really enjoyed seeing Sam Anderson. He is a character actor who I just love when he's just one of those guys that pops up and you're like, yeah, that guy's awesome. He plays Holland Manners, who's like the Wolverman Hart boss. But my favorite example of Sam Anderson being in a thing is in the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode Royale. He's the manager behind the desk, and he does just such a great job of portraying like middle management indifference. It's something that stuck with me from when I was a kid. I really enjoyed that performance. He's also really good in Lost. I mean, no one watch Lost ever. If you haven't watched Lost, please don't watch Lost.
Don't fall for the trick of Lost. Let's move on to best worst character look/work. Which I wasn't sure what this category was, so I didn't add anything. But
well, we had it in the first part of Angel. We had best character look, and it was like Angel in a pink helmet was like a winner.
Oh right.
Yeah. So for me, I felt like David Nabbit, who plays the rich nerd who's seeing demon hookers, was one of the worst characters. Like it's just the dumbest explanation of the tech community, and it made me angry as someone that works in technology a little bit, to have someone be like, I'm making so much money all the time and I don't even know how, and I have no friends. And like Cordelia just playing this kind of sycophant that just wants to be around him to get rich, but like and just doing what's required. And like that whole character dynamic is boring to me, and I wanted it over as soon as it started.
You didn't appreciate that he was living the opposite world of his Office Space life?
No, I didn't appreciate that character. And then because he's also a pervert too, right? Because he's having these sex with demon hookers a few times.
I don't think that makes him a pervert. I mean, no, let's not label him. I think he's just having sex with demon prostitutes.
No, he wouldn't be a pervert if he didn't talk about it like he was a pervert. He talks about these demon hookers like it's something sick and weird that he's doing. But that's like the main reason he's going to see Angel is to get these photos back or whatever that were taken. And anyway, I don't like that character. He's the worst character. And then the best, Charles Gunn. I mean, I know he only gets a few episodes, but like just out of nowhere, this character actor I never thought about is like just a fun, crazy character with this badass origin. He has a cool car that looks like something out of like A-Team meets Ninja Turtles. That just like has these freaking spikes on it, has a spike cannon. You can just see the action figures being like, pressed and molded in China while you're watching the show. So like, I just like this guy, and I want to see more stuff with him, but I got some predictions about Charles Gunn.
So I talked about the actress Tamara Gorski in Eternity already. So basically my best character really is just the main cast, Wesley, Cordelia, Angel, and they just made such big strides, ever since Doyle. I mean, Doyle's no longer on the show, and Wesley has come in and just totally taken over Doyle's position, and is even a lot better than that character, in my opinion. And then this is one good disclosure thing, because when Mike and I were watching this, I accidentally called Wesley the wrong name, and in real life, and Mike was like laughing at me. So
well, you have so much whatever this you're so invested in the show, you call characters by their real names and their actor names, like back and forth. Yeah, completely interchangeably. It's like they're real and playing their parts at the same time. So like your suspension of disbelief is so non-existent, and it shows in the way you watch the show and comment about the lighting and talk about the props, while at the same time you're somehow invested in the story. And so when you're like saying like Dennis off, and it's like, what?
Oh, is that why it says parentheses my name next to Wesley?
Well, I also called Wesley Dennis. And then when I was talking to Mike about him, and I was like, well, there's reasons. And then, and it got confusing. And Mike laughed at me. He was real confused at me. But, he's going to be like me someday. He's going to be.
Which is also confusing because Wesley is also my middle name.
Well, that's why
Whoa.
That's my confusion, right? Because I know your middle name. And then I don't know these characters, but it feels like I know these characters. And it's just a lot sometimes. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I've definitely had similar experience where like I was playing like a Ninja Turtles game with my friend Brian, and I was like, "Watch out, Leo!" And like his wife started laughing at me. I was like, "Why don't you just say watch out, Brian?" Or
Because right now he's not Brian. He's Leo right now. Gotta commit. If you're gonna win as a turtle, you gotta commit.
John, what's your best worst?
Oh, I'm not sure I interpreted the question properly. I just sort of like put my best and worst performances, who I thought were the best and worst actors, really. My favorite performance throughout this has just been watching Alexis Denisov, because I've come to realize he's really, really good. The way that he is simultaneously like portrays Wesley as like a total coward, but also really sort of like morally upright and like actually like really brave is kind of cool. I think it's a neat combination. It's a neat character combination. And then also like doing all of that thing, and then also simultaneously being like Charlie Chaplin level brilliant at physical comedy is really cool. Like he'll just turn that on for one joke and then it's gone. And it's incredible. I really, really, really enjoy watching that. And the worst performance, I think, is Christian Kane as Lindsay McDonald, the Wolfram and Hart guy.
You don't buy him as a Southern lawyer.
He's just like completely flat throughout the whole thing, which I think is kind of like on purpose, because he's sort of a foil for Angel, and Angel's completely flat, at least for the first like 2 years that we knew him at the beginning. And it's only just now that Angel is like becoming an interesting character, because we're finally getting some details beyond the flat exterior of Angel. But I don't want to watch Lindsay be flat for 8 seasons before we find out what's interesting about him, because right now this is I don't care.
Totally.
Then we have the other category, best worst new character.
Oh yeah. I'll do on my mini rant. So I really like Lila Morgan. So she works for Wolfram and Hart. She's the other one of the other attorneys. There's 3 of them, and she's great. She buys Angel's contract in the ring and is super weird with Faith, but really relatable with Faith, and
super weird with Faith.
She's really great though. Like when she's being really relatable with Faith, I'm like, you're evil, but I actually really like it when you're evil. I mean, it's a weird dynamic. Okay, let's just put it that way. And then best actress to come back first through flashbacks, that's Darla, because she's a horribly underdeveloped character in season 1 of Buffy. And then she comes back in non-flashbacks at the end, which is so amazing. But then the best part is she originally auditioned for Buffy, the part of Buffy, didn't get it, so they cast her as Darla. So then in my mind, I know, right? Get out of your head, Travis. There's this mirror dimension where she actually plays Buffy and Buffy plays Darla, which would be like in a really insane like switch if that was ever made. So I get like really excited thinking about her being Buffy and then Sarah Michelle Gellar playing Darla, because that would also be like an amazing. That would also be amazing.
So were they considered that for casting for the same parts? Is that
Yeah,
kind of?
they were trying. She was trying to be cast as Buffy. Darla was,
which is, I think, why the very first scene in Buffy works is like, it's her and this dude breaking into Sunnydale High School, and one of them's a vampire. But there's a twist in it, and the twist is she's a vampire. But I feel like the other twist is like, because you don't know who Sarah Michelle Gellar is at this point. You think she might be Buffy, like you just don't know.
Yeah.
And the other fun twist is like how she ends up playing Angel's mom in a way, right? 'Cause she sires Angel, and then of course Angel wants to get with Buffy, who could have played the same part, right? So it's like
he's got a type.
Yeah,
definitely got a type.
What you gotta do? You find a blonde woman, you bet her, love her, and then then break up with her. Oh man.
All these blondes taking his souls.
Well, yeah, that's why the whole Kate thing is great because Kate, Buffy, and Darla all really could hang out as part of like a crew.
I picked a Gunn. Charles Gunn is the best new character.
His name is Gunn.
His name is Gunn.
He's got a gun.
He's the third Gunn brother, James and Sean and Charles. I think he's definitely named after James Gunn. I think that's where they got that from. All right. Why don't we move on to our weirdest section, the rant section, and see what happens. Mike, why don't you start with your rants?
Sure. I feel like I've already started talking about this earlier, but wow, Wolfram Hart is such a fucking mess. This season builds up Wolfram and Hart as this big bad villain, and they are a big bad villain, but man, they are the most disorganized law firm that I've seen. The people there are cruel to each other, and they're killing each other. Like you cannot believe how evil the organization is as it's kind of like you finally see inside its doors, as it shows those characters' perspectives in the last few episodes of this season, and just like how cruel they are. Like that scene of the guy that looks like for like a Big Bang Theory character. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The guy Faith smashes his face.
Yeah, Faith smashes this dude's face. He looks like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. And then they shoot him in the back of the head because he's looking at another job. While we're tense thinking that Lindsay's going to get maybe just removed from the office, not assassinated. And then, their values don't make any sense. It's like, yes, they want to murder things and like cause mayhem. But like Lindsay gets a promotion for betraying their organization and letting Angel sneak in. And that makes so little fucking sense. And it's just a show-breaking moment. It's like, why the fuck did they do that? I'm angry watching the show. I want Angel, and, I like the heist aspect of them breaking in, and, like, they have these psychics that are working there. Like, there's so many cool Dungeons and Dragons type of shit going on at Wolfram and Hart. Like, they have these psychics that are, actively mentally patrolling the area for issues in addition to the surveillance cameras. So they distract them, with a vampire and, with Charles Gunn rushing in. But then like they introduce a prophecy scroll too. It's just a random drop of supernatural bullshit. And yet it's also a legal entity that is just very thinly pretends to be a real law firm. And like that stuff is so broken and made me so angry. But I also enjoyed watching it because I was like, oh man, anything can happen now. And it just reminds me of this era, and this is this is part of the rant. This is an era when bad guys just wore suits. And I think it was like the era where The Firm came out, and when there was just, there's corporate overlord bad dudes. And like, yes, we still live in that era, but the way they were portrayed in the 90s and clearly into 2001, it's just like bad guys wearing suits and having guns. And it's just like the Wolfram Hart law firm is just bad guys in suits. And it's just so generically bad. Okay, so that's my Wolfram Hart thing, I guess. But they're just, from episode 1 of this season, it's like, these are going to be the big bad guys. You'll see. They're so messy. And somehow they're going to be the bad guys for season 2 and season 3 of this show. Yeah, also, Angel gets staked and doesn't die. So what the fuck is that? He gets staked.
When does that happen?
Warzone, right? He gets to stake, or is it?
Obviously missed his heart. It was a miss.
Yeah.
All right.
Near miss.
A near miss. It's the same as Angel basically walking around in daytime in Los Angeles. It's just like they do whatever they want on Angel, but Angel's going to be all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Angel gets real sloppy with vampire roles this season. I pointed this out, I think, before we turned the camera on. Like, in Eternity, he breaks into her house without an invite, and there's never an explanation for that at all. Like,
no.
Somehow getting around LA in those sewers. I mean, it is messy.
It's a car that's a convertible. I mean, there's more world breaking there as well. He's a convertible 67 something.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're a vampire buying a car. Do you buy a convertible? Of course not. That's great.
All right, my rant. Why does Angel rent an office that has giant windows in every room? It comes up all the time, and sometimes it's total direct sunlight that does not bother him at all. And then other times when it's convenient, having those open windows is like setting him on fire. It's like there's just no consistency. What's great is that, I mean, also the thing, like he just gets the best real estate deals. But then my other rant is like his basement apartment. Like number one, you're not supposed to live in the basement of any commercial property. That's generally frowned upon, from what I understand. Number two, like he has so much more furniture than you think he should have. Like even though he doesn't have a lot of furniture, like it is a lot of furniture compared to like when he was living in that empty mansion, or that he's ever picked up in his life. We knew he had that glass box, that glass
Display case. Yeah.
Glass display case. But he has like old timey furniture in his bedroom. He's got like a big bed. He's got chairs. You know, he's got a sitting room. He's got like old fashioned looking lamps.
I think what we've discovered is that for like close to 200 years, he's probably been renting like a storage unit, and he just always brings out furniture from that when he gets a new place.
Oh, and then there's like the whole like he has no money thing that they joke about. Is a good rant. It's just like you're 200 years old and you don't have an investment portfolio. It's like that's like a legitimate complaint, and it's not like he's unearthing like gold doubloons that he like ripped off some monastery back like 200 years ago when he robbed them. And he's paying for stuff that way. There is really no cash he uses or credit card. And so it's silly and funny, and they make fun of it. But
yeah, I feel I feel bad for Cordelia having to organize those expenses. Totally underappreciated job. You know, there's not a lot of money coming in.
yeah, one of the most baller moves is when she wrote those checks to herself and made Angel sign them. That was such a baller move because, like, you know, the CEO like doesn't understand how the business works, but it's like, yeah, they'll sign those checks, and then it's like after it's done, it's like, wait, what are these for? And Cordelia's just like, I'm out of here.
Good rant, Trev. There's a lot of high concept episodes this season. Like, and some of them are just so gimmicky. Like I don't know. I could just really see like I've Got You Under My Skin is like, what if in The Exorcist the kid is more evil than the demon? Boom. What if it's Spartacus? Oh, it's monsters. The Ring. Boom. Like, you know, I don't know. It just feels so elevator pitchy, and like, those episodes like are like feel like they're not coming from like a character first, but from like a gimmick first.
The Ring came out this year. This came out in 2000, which is the exact same year that the Voyager episode Sunkatsi comes out, where 7 of 9 is a gladiator and fights The Rock.
The Rock, really?
Yeah, The Rock is in that episode.
Wow. 7 of 9 would totally lose to The Rock. I don't care. The Rock is huge.
I'm surprised X-Files never had like a supernatural fighting ring episode. X-Files never did.
Some of these feel like X-Files episodes. I feel like Under My Skin just feels like it is an X-Files episode. They just like erased Mulder's name and put Angel.
Yeah, true.
What qualifies it as an X-Files episode? I'm just curious. Like what goes on in your brain that says X-Files?
Yeah, the whole like steps of unraveling it. Like, is it a demon possession?
Oh, sure. Okay.
What kind of demon possession is it? Well, now we realize, and there's just that sort of like structure, and
yeah, that episode has good tension and starts really well, and then is stupid.
Yeah, I feel like if it was an X-Files episode though, like Angel Mulder would from the very beginning like be like, that kid's really evil and it's not the demon, right? Like,
yeah,
Mulder always knows. Whereas like Angel's confused that entire episode.
I really like what you're saying, Dennis, about the high concept thing, because Angel doesn't have like a proper villain in this arc that like I can really get behind. I mean, really, Kate, is that story is like the interesting season 1 story of like that relationship and kind of falling out. But he doesn't. I guess Darla, the arrival of Darla, is like a good emotional villain, but like it's so high concept because they don't have like a back. They're not pulling from his character to give you stuff. They do a couple times, right? Because they get Jeremy Renner, as this other like old vamp or whatever.
Yeah, which feels very like how many spikes has Angel made, right? And my other rant is I was just trying to like, because we've done like 5 seasons of Buffy Angel now, and like their monsters have really reached like a point of like having like a classic, like there's a classic Buffy monster, there's patterns, and it's because John Vulich is the main makeup guy for Buffy, and like it just happens when you got like one guy doing it, he has his patterns and stuff. So it's really fun for me to see like monsters starting to look different on Angel, and it's hard to tell when you're like, it's hard to tell with monster makeup who's doing what, because like people will be credited for different things on different shows. Like how you define like your makeup department changes so much from show to show. But I think it's Glenn Hetrick who's like doing the designs that are like the interesting ones I've called out earlier. So I think he's just adding like a new visual vocabulary to the show. I think that's cool. And he's got an interesting career. Like he's a permanent judge on Face Off. So if you watch that, you'd know him. He's the kind of like old goth looking dude. And he's like still doing monster makeup and stuff. He's on Star Trek Discovery right now. So he's got like a big career. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that guy. All right, that's my rant. John, you have more of a question?
So yeah, we didn't really have a question. We're not really going to do a question section this episode, but I did want to ask, Dr. Travis, as a medical doctor, is it possible to take a syringe with a drug in it and throw it like a dart at someone's neck in order to administer a drug? Does that work?
I mean, it barely works in Jurassic Park, right? If you're a vet, there is like auto injecting needles,
right?
But that's not how modern medicine is practiced. I want to reassure everyone.
With
listening.
a regular syringe,
if you need a vaccination, they're not going to just put you up against a wall on a dartboard, the flu vaccine at you until they get you good.
So you've never administered any sort of treatment this way?
No, I've done plenty of other crazy things, but nothing.
What about by blow dart?
No, nothing by blow dart.
Okay, all right. So my actual rant is really connected with. First of all, I really enjoyed watching the second half of this season, and I realized like partway through that the reason I enjoy it is because it's actually quite a bit like Star Trek, like the way that some of the episodes are, and I think it really ties into what Dennis is talking about with there being a lot of like sort of high concept episodes. It's a thing that it has in common with Star Trek. And I kind of want to talk on some different episodes than Dennis brought up. So She and Warzone. So She, as I mentioned before, and it is a crazy ambitious episode that really really overtly brings up questions about, no, that's not saying too much. It doesn't bring up questions. It brings up the topic. It says, here is the topic of human trafficking. And then it also says, here is the topic of female genital mutilation, because the women in that episode have this like thing in their spine that is connected to their sex drive, and they cut it out. Like that's what's happening. So, but then also, I don't think the episode really has a ton to say on those subjects. It just sort of brings them up and then they are there, which feels a very Star Trek thing to me. And it's a thing that
it's more invested in the gimmick of like, these ladies are hot.
Yeah, that's part of it. But like it reminds me of Star Trek in that like I think Star Trek also often does this of like wanting to bring up an important issue, but not actually having a ton to say about it, or maybe thinking of it a different way, like wanting to bring up an important issue, but not being able to escape the writer's own point of view. Right. So like I'm thinking about the original Star Trek episode. This shall be your last battlefield, where there's the people who are black on one side and white on the other versus the people who are white on the left and black on the right. And the episode is basically like racism. That's dumb. But it doesn't have like a very rich critique of racism. It's just sort of brings it up and then delivers it to you. Similarly, the episode Warzone, like I think deserves some credit because like it brings up the issue of like, if there were vampires, like every single other thing in society would not affect everyone equally. Like it would fall along social strata. But then also like the episode had all of these like moments that for me fall super flat, where you have Gunn, who I think Mike is right. The gentleman who plays him is an amazing actor and he does the best he can with the material. But you have him saying like, "You're a middle-class white man. What are you doing here in my neighborhood?" Like it's just a lot of very flat stuff like that just feels awkward, and it just feels like the writers like know enough that they want to bring up an important issue, but that's about as far as they've taken it. I don't know. That's why I love this season, because I something I love about that. I love the ambition of it. I love the desire of it, and I love the the wanting to be better than you know how to be. I think that's a nice thing to have, but it's also kind of fucked up and sad.
Yeah, that's a great read. I really like that concept of being better than you know how to be. Because the Warzone one also, in addition to like the class warfare, I mean, it's also there's like a gentrification story in there about how the neighborhood used to be and the vampires are complaining, and so there's like a racism and gentrification story.
Yep.
You know, and like they're gonna take care of the problem, and it's very like it's funny because you see it and you're like, oh shit, of course there are blue collar vampires that just want to get hate the other, you know, and like I feel like they could go so much. I mean, I say go deeper. There's not much deeper to go. You're gonna have them play act, this racist storyline, and then you kind of interrupt it by introducing Angel, who's just fights for himself. But it's a fun stage and set to throw Angel at, right? Because it's like you get these great ideas, set them up, and then put Angel in to knock the pins down. And that's your structure. Kind of sounds like Hellboy now.
Yeah, actually, the episode "The Ring" was like a very Hellboy episode to me, especially like in those Hellboy short stories. The same thing always happens where he's like listening to what a human says, and then the human like knocks him out, and he wakes up like he's like, ah, fuck, like I got tricked by this human again, and that exact thing happens in The Ring.
Is there a season of Star Trek, of whatever version of Star Trek, that is kind of like weird and wonky like this season? It's that the aspirations don't meet the achievements.
I mean, again, I think all of Star Trek is kind of that story, which is why I love Star Trek.
Whoa, hot take!
Sorry, Star Trek. You think you mature year after year? No.
Yeah, I think Star Trek when it's at its best is those moments where its reach exceeds its grasp, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, and shouldn't you be trying to exceed your skills?
Exactly.
Right.
Recommendations.
So I really needed to recommend Sunset Boulevard this episode, just for the Eternity episode, and then Spartacus for The Ring. I mean, I'm sure I've recommended The Exorcist before, but The Exorcist for Under Your Skin or whatever. And then for like John pointed out, there's like a shit ton of pregnancy horror. So I think I've already recommended Sunset Boulevard. Eraserhead is like the most frightening pregnancy horror. And Dagon has some weird like trying to get pregnancy horror.
Oh Jesus, Dagon.
Stuart Gordon, H.P. Lovecraft. So those are my recs. Why don't we do predictions?
Virgin predictions.
Okay, predictions. So at the moment, Michael, your accuracy is at 61%. Let's see if this half season of Angel floats you up or down. So going back to the end of season 2 of Buffy, Mike, you predicted that homeless Angel is going to appear again. Now, I think that we actually had this because we had a flashback to a version of Angel that was still sort of, I don't know, Victorian era, maybe before, and he's a monster. And he's saying, "I'm a monster." That Angel who's like, "I'm a monster. You have to kill me." Red is very homeless to me. It's not the exact same homeless Angel we saw before, but I think we should confirm Mike's prediction that homeless Angel is going to appear again. Dennis and Travis, what do you think?
I don't think that's the one Mike predicted. I mean, not to spoil anything, but Mike will get this right. So I don't think we have to
Hell yeah. When Angel's homeless living in New York City with Whistler.
Oh my god.
Did you predict with Whistler? Can we
No, he didn't.
No, I'm not going to say
It
with
just
Whistler.
says homeless Angel is going to appear again.
Yeah, let's just revisit that later.
Okay. All right. Very well. Okay. Michael predicted at the end of season 3 that Faith will go to LA in season 4.
You got that one. There's no way of shutting that prediction down.
It is a well-established precedent, if the listeners don't know, that When we say season 4, that that's season 4 of Buffy, which coincides with season 1 of Angel, so we count those as the same thing. Similarly, Buffy will go to LA to stop Faith in season 4. I believe that happens as well.
Damn,
That is
good.
confirmed.
Good one, Mike.
Only she can stop her. It's her demon.
Wesley will try to sleep with Cordelia in season 4/Angel season 1. I believe that has not happened. I don't think there's any sign from Wesley this season that he's tried to sleep with Cordelia. I think that is in their past at this point. Dennis and Travis, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Or denied, rather.
Confirmed denied.
Okay.
This is a confirmed denial from our team.
Confirmed denial. Okay. Mike also predicted, this is again end of season 3, that the Watcher Council will try to kill Angel. It's a well done prediction there. That's confirmed.
Not how I expected them to do it.
Okay.
You didn't think they'd try to kill him with a helicopter? I love that crazy ass jump Angel does to get on the helicopter from, like, not even from the roof, but from a story down through the sky. Like, it's so crazy.
Is it the $6 Million Man music that's like like
Yeah.
it's like that's the music I hear in my mind when he jumps.
I mean, he did it blind. The chances that he'd like land into the helicopter blades were the same as like land where he wanted.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
All right. So the last time we watched Angel, when we watched the first half of this season, Michael predicted that Faith and Angel will team up. Now, this is a little bit more ambiguous. Dennis and Travis, do you think that, Angel's desire to rehabilitate Faith and Faith sort of going along with that plan, does that constitute a team up?
Well, I'd say Faith, Angel, and Buffy all team up to fight that helicopter.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that is a pretty literal team up.
Yeah,
Do you have any problem with confirming that?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Michael predicted that on that same occasion that the Watcher Council will be a villain on Angel. That has also clearly happened. This is Confirmation City, Michael. You're doing very well.
I'm very excited.
You feel like you're not. You look like you're not prepared for this many confirmations. Like, my body doesn't know how to handle this much.
Okay, so this one I may need a bit of help with the timeline. So in Buffy season 4, episode 16, Michael predicted that the next time we see Faith after that will be on Angel.
Yeah, I think.
Is that accurate?
That's one where she left in the train. So I'm sure it's the second of the two-parter when she wakes up. Yeah.
Okay. So that's confirmed.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to break this to Mike, but we weren't watching like my other WB shows, and so there was no risk of her showing up on Gilmore or anything else. We only watched Buffy and Angel, so
that'd be great if she showed up as Faith
in Stars Hollow. It's like new with this crime wave through Stars Hollow. We're only watching I guess she could have shown up on Buffy again before Angel.
Did they did not put Buffy or Angel on other shows? Just Buffy and Angel, right?
No, it's not like this was before the days of like
an expanded universe.
CW's Arrowverse. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
After that parade of confirmations, that veritable feast of confirmations, Michael, you have risen from a 61% to a 61.8. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much. I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, just the way the math works on this is that the more we do it, the less dramatic it gets. It's sort of something we didn't think about when we started doing it, is that just every single prediction that you win or lose, it's a smaller piece of the overall pie. So we're just sort of like...
Oh, hey, there's one I wanted to address. I just found it. Sorry. In season 3, episode 17, Mike predicted Angel will pretend to become Angelus again, but to be funny.
That's right. That's why I didn't bring that one up.
Address that, since he didn't become he like half became Angelus again.
Yeah, I thought about bringing that one up, but again, he wasn't really pretending as far as the episode. I watched that carefully because I think there's you could make the argument that he was doing it on purpose, that he wasn't really Angelus, that he was just fucking around to Black Snake moan her into being a better person, which is really an effed up thing to do and is definitely not funny if that's the case. So in any case, I think we're going to leave that one open.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that he was pretending to be Angelus to be funny.
I just wanted to call it out. And it broke Travis, apparently.
Yes. The 61.8 stands.
I forget some of the insane things Michael like predicts. Like, how is that funny?
Angel just knows that that's in his back pocket as a magician.
Angel has zero comedic timing. Anyways, moving on.
He's the world's best actor.
Okay, so I have new predictions for Angel, I guess. But if they come true on Buffy, that's fine with me. Okay, so there'll be no more references to the Odin Tal dimension. The Odin Tal dimension is where the women who are being sex trafficked are from. And she. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think Faith is on a redemption arc, and she's not going to attack Buffy or Angel again.
I think, okay, so wait, specifically, Faith will not attack Buffy or Angel again. Because saying Faith is on a redemption arc, that's present tense. That's not a prediction.
Okay, Faith will not attack Buffy again. Faith will not attack Angel again.
Okay, those are separate predictions
They better be.
from each other, but also separate from Faith will continue on her redemption arc.
Faith will continue. Faith is on a redemption arc for season 5 of Buffy and season 2 of Angel. I don't think she's going to appear on Buffy. Really, I think she's an Angel problem now.
Well, that's another prediction altogether.
Faith will become a cast member on Angel.
Faith will become a cast member on Angel.
Yeah, like she'll be in the credits.
Okay,
the opening credits. She just seems like that's the show where she belongs, and I was impressed and surprised by what they pulled out of the Wesley Faith relationship. So I feel like that's something you'd want to play with some more, because there's a good story of Wesley no longer as a watcher, in the same way that Giles is no longer a watcher, looking after her. And I feel like there's a real fun arc there that they will not be able to resist because it's so meaty. So Wesley will look after Faith, whether she likes it or not. Wesley and Cordelia will kiss again in season 2 of Angel. That happened. It was like kind of a joke, gag thing where Cordelia was trying to transfer her Doyle powers to people, and so she gave him a kiss. I think she kissed Angel too. Anyway, she's going to kiss Wesley in season 2. And this sexual tension is going to continue. It's just a broken part of this show. Even though Cordelia is sleeping with other dudes. But it doesn't bother Wesley like it would have if this was on Buffy. If it was on Buffy, he'd be losing his mind. Charles Gunn will get hired by Angel's detective agency. I'd like to see Charles Gunn move into the agency. I mean, he seems like a one-off dude that's just like you hire him when you have your problems. They need like a crazy solution. But I think eventually Charles is going to move into that detective agency. Like, it's going to get a little bigger. We're going to have another assassin hired to kill children. It's just like they're universally evil. So there was the assassin that went after the future psychic children in Blind Date. And I think we'll get not another blind assassin, but just assassins that are hired to kill children for reasons. And like, they're going to be different. Who the heck knows? They're not going to be prophets necessarily, but like, damn, love killing children. There's like evil children on Angel in a way there isn't on Buffy. Even though we had evil children on Buffy, I feel like Angel's evil children are darker, though they're not as the characters who play the actors who play them are not as good. I'm just thinking about the one or whatever, right?
Or Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, God, our favorite. Lindsay will eventually run Wolfram and Hart. I mean, they kind of imply that he's moved up in the world after betraying Wolfram and Hart, but there's another room up a floor. It keeps going up.
There's always more floors when you never specify how big the building is.
And I'm going to go ahead and say there is a portal to an evil dimension in Wolfram and Hart, and that could be hell, but there's a portal to an evil dimension there. Wolfram and Hart. And Darla will be a villain in season 2 of Angel. There's just no way that they resurrected her after killing 5 or 6 vampires, whatever that was, and not going to use her. So she'll be a villain. Wesley doesn't have a place to live. This is just a general prediction. I don't think we've seen his house. I don't think he has one. I think he sleeps in the car or in the detective agency. And I just want that verified where someone's worried about Wesley not having a place to live.
So may I modify that just slightly to say we will learn Wesley doesn't have a place to live.
Yeah. And then Kate and Angel are going to work together in season 2. I think that they're over their breakup, the breakup part of that arc, and I think they'll be forced to work together again in season 2. Probably to get this woman named Darla.
Cool.
All right. I think that's predictions.
I was thinking up a weighting factor because, as you said, John, the predictions now don't mean as much. So it's like a prediction season 1 shouldn't have like so much of a weight because Mike doesn't understand the show, but a prediction in like season 5 or 6 should have like a 1.5 or 2 times weight because like it hurts him more or helps him more, right? You know.
Oh, like a game show where they like try and get everybody on the same playing field, at the end.
I think if we're going to do that, then I think there should be some consequences.
Consequences. Well, that sounds exciting. Why don't we discuss this off camera?
We should.
But in the meantime, we'll say goodnight, folks. I've been your host, Dennis St. John. Make sure to watch, listen to new episodes of Buffy Virgin, the name of this actual podcast. You can like us, rate us, subscribe, please. If you comment, we will read it online. Probably, we will read it on the podcast, probably. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in L.